got fitted Japan.
Yeah, all the time me on business. I'm all about my business, but I ain't got no briefcase. Yeah, all I got's some whiskey. Open and the whiskey, bring it to you. Yeah, I'm leaning up against the door, and my feet up to the floor, and we're messing on go. Yeah, I've been in before. I'm a broken man, needing remedial lands. I'm all about my business. Let me love you till the morning. Let me love you till the morning, yeah.
What's up, faders, and welcome to yet another action-packed episode of Got Faded Japan, and I am your host, Johnny. And as you fine folks know, Got Faded Japan is about two dudes, booze, Japan, and the news. And actually, faders, for this episode number 794, we're going to do something a little different. I know! Today, we're going to have an interview. We're going to interview James Straker, and this is basically cool people doing awesome things in Japan, and that's something that I like to do from time to time. And we definitely have a very cool person who's doing something really awesome here in Japan, and I am so thrilled, James, to have you on the show. It's been way too long. We've been talking about it, and I mean, I've known you kind of like, well, I met you like maybe 8 years ago, and
Wait. When? Where?
I met you with Fat Mike. Remember, we did a podcast back in the day.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I have a thing called aphantasia. I can't create or store mental imagery, and also I've split my skull either 6 or 7 times, and there's just nothing in there a lot of the time. So yes, all the pieces are coming together now.
Well, it's good to see you again, man, and welcome to Got Faded Japan. Geez, man, catching up. We hung out for maybe half an hour before the show, and we caught up. And my goodness, man, it seems like you're doing some really cool stuff in Australia too. Now, before we talk about what you're doing in Japan and about anything, I got to ask you one question. What is your opinion on Cooper's beer?
Cooper's beer for a long while was the best Australian beer, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in the last 10 years, we've come into a bit of a glory time for beer in Australia, where we actually discovered that you can have microbrewers who make really beautiful, interesting beers.
Very cool.
Cooper's became the standard for if a band came out and you were touring with them or touring them or working, whatever, Cooper's was a good go-to that was 4X or Victoria Bitter VB, which were just horrendous. They like VB and 4X make Coors Light look like a boutique beer.
Wow.
They're that bad.
Oh my gosh.
So Cooper's, what's your Cooper's Green's always probably my go-to.
Mm-hmm. My Coopers? No, I love all Coopers. I used to have a brewing kit, and it was a Cooper's brewing kit, and I just fell in love with brewing Cooper's beer. So whenever I
Cooper is, right?
Like Mr. Cooper? Like Alice Cooper?
A Cooper. Cooper is the technical term for someone who kegs beer.
No kidding. I was a Cooper.
Yeah.
I was King Cooper. There we go. Wow. See, faders, you learn something every time you listen or watch Got Faded Japan. And by the way, thank you for watching us on YouTube if you are. Like and subscribe. And, okay.
Hit that button down there.
Yeah, they say crush it, crush that button or whatever. I don't know.
That's what the young people say.
They do it. I feel young on the outside.
I don't feel young one either.
Really? Oh, I don't feel young on the inside. That's for sure. Oh my gosh.
I broke my spine 3 years ago.
You broke your spine?
Actually, 3 years ago. The anniversary was a couple of days ago.
Oh my God, like in a mosh pit or something, or?
No, I fell 5.5 meters, so about 18 feet through a suspended ceiling directly onto my feet. And the surgical term was I burst, fractured, or obliterated my L1 vertebrae. So my L1 doesn't really exist anymore. I'm 2 inches shorter than I used to be.
No.
A lot of titanium in my spine now. And I was very, very lucky because I came super close to being paralyzed. I did it on a Wednesday, and I snuck myself out of the hospital on the Sunday because No Effects were playing across the road.
Oh my God. Well, there you go. Fat Mike.
It was a terrible idea.
Were you in a wheelchair?
Basically, yeah.
Like, put me to the pit.
Oh yeah, they had to. Yeah, yeah. I'll send you a video to watch.
I would love that. I would love that, man. Okay, so we met here in Japan when NoFX was here for their final show in Japan, and yeah, we hung out with Fat Mike, and that was a lot of fun. Great times, great times. So since then, you've been returning to Japan and doing some really cool stuff. First off, let me just ask you, how did you get interested in Japan originally?
I have that the trip that I've just been on, like in September this year, I think was my 15th trip to Japan.
Yeah.
But I've never been there for more than 4 weeks at a time. I've been self-employed for a lot of my time, a lot of my life, and so you don't necessarily get holiday pay or a lot of time off. So Japan, I don't even remember why I went there the first time, but it's close to home. You know, it's 8.5 to 10 hour flight, which for Australia is close. Our dollar's always had a pretty good parity, and I think probably a lot of it is just growing up being a comic nerd, being a computer game nerd, being a toy nerd. Japan is ground zero.
Yeah, we got a lot of that stuff. A
Yeah.
lot of that stuff.
Yeah, so my entire back is a Godzilla tattoo. I don't speak to clarify, I don't speak any Japanese. I tried so hard. I've I've really, really tried. My brain, again, going back to the split skulls, and that just doesn't hold in. But I do have that one. Hold on. I don't know if you can be able to see that.
Is it
But it says
Beetle?
one bottle of beer.
Yeah, yeah,
Beer
I'm a
and
beater.
Nippon. Yeah.
Good. You just point there, you're like, that's all I need. Just one.
Actually, again, we'll go into this, but part of the reason I love about Japan is that I always describe it to people as being the safest place in the world to be outside of your comfort zone.
Hmm.
So a lot of the adventures I've had over there, I can sort of directly tie to the fact I don't speak Japanese, because they've put me in situations where I've had to, I don't know about humble myself, but put myself in a maybe embarrassing situation of having to ask for help or do something, and it's just created a lot of scenarios where I've had these experiences that I don't think I would have had if I'd been fluent in Japanese, because I wouldn't have had to ask for someone's help.
Yeah. Ignorance is bliss.
It's I mean, yes and no. It's, again, if I could, I would speak fluent Japanese. I would love that. I've tried, I've been trying to learn to speak Japanese since probably 1996.
Hmm.
And after 2 or 3 trips to Japan, it just became really evident that my brain is not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, because thinking of that, I think my best times of being in Japan, of living here, I've been here for like, what, 25 years, over half my life. And the thing is, it's just like thinking back, it's just when I first came here, the first couple of times, I mean, first off, it was the 90s and it was awesome in Japan. It was like hardcore, raw Japan. It was amazing. But also, I was like a fish out of water. I didn't know anything about the culture. I could barely use chopsticks. I mean, I didn't know anything. So I relied on my friends, which also got me in a lot of like exciting and interesting and sometimes pretty crazy situations.
Yeah.
So that's like my best time of living in Japan. Like now, everything's like super normal. I pay my taxes. I go to like
Yep.
I buy donuts. I know the best donut shop, the best Mexican restaurants. I just go all over the place and I just do all the stuff I just normally do. So now it's normal.
I think as well for me, Japan is such an interesting dichotomy, because obviously, again, current political climate,
Mm.
but it's the friendliest place in the world in terms of service, if that makes sense.
It
So
does.
people will go out of their way to help you because it's part of their role, either in work or society. So I always say to people that every time I go to Japan and come back, I think I come back a little bit better human being, because I've learned more about being humble, more about being sort of, I guess, helpful is the easy term to use. And from my point of view, I think Japan has nailed this idea that if everybody gives up a small amount of freedom, everybody gets more freedom. Like do whatever you want, just don't inconvenience someone else's day doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. That is spot on.
Hmm.
Very true. Very true.
What
Yeah.
is what that's 7 inch? What's the Bruce Lee one? What 7 inch is it?
Oh, this? Oh, I just got gifted this from a friend. No, it's Kung Fu Fighting.
Yes, that's amazing. So I had to
Isn't
ask.
that dope? Yeah, it's the Japanese cover, so it's like, yeah, it's the greatest 45. I love this. I want to frame
So
it.
good.
It's so
Yes.
awesome. I love seeing movie posters and like DVDs and the cassettes and like records, of course, that are like Western that are like translated into Japanese. For example, the Pulp Fiction movie poster that's all written in Japanese is just to die for. It's amazing. It's so cool. I love seeing that stuff, And I know you know Kevin Smith, so I mean, I love
Yeah.
seeing Kevin Smith stuff too. Like Kuruksu. I'm like, oh, it's in Japanese. That's crazy.
So I bought the laser disc of the original Alien movie, and it was amazing because on the front is just the green egg and Alien written in Japanese, and that's it. It's so stark.
Yeah, dude, it's cool.
I love it. I'm
Yeah.
also really obsessed with that Japan is, again, that dichotomy of Japan. The history of Japan is thousands of years old, but they're also one of the most advanced electronics places in the world. And I love redundant technology. I love laser discs. I found about VHD. Have you ever seen VHD, video hard disk?
No.
So it's basically, imagine it's not a laser disc, so it's not a square, it's a rectangle. It's a huge floppy disk, dude, that had movies on it. Like, I mean, like a A3 page almost.
Really? It's like this.
Amazing. And what I love about it, and you love this as well, by being an A3 shape, the cover is a movie poster. It's not a square, it's an actual movie poster shape.
That's incredible. That's awesome. I love that. That's one of the reasons why I love records. You can look at them.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. And I love there's an attention to detail in Japan. Do you know about the Honda Blackbird and the Hayabusa?
I do not.
Yeah, so
I should.
basically, no, you shouldn't. That's like, there's like, I've got ADD. I know a little bit about lots of things. So basically, in the 90s, heading into the early 2000s, the four big Japanese motorbike manufacturers, Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha, Kawasaki, basically had an unofficial war, like the convenience stores are now with fried chicken, about who could make the fastest production motorbikes. I think one point Kawasaki put out this motorbike did 320, 200 and something miles an hour out of the box. And
Wow.
for a long while, the Honda Blackbird was the fastest motorbike in the world. And Suzuki announces the Hayabusa. And we go, that's a cool sounding word, Hayabusa. But Hayabusa is the Japanese word for the peregrine falcon, which is the world's only natural predator of the blackbird.
Yeah, dude,
There's
that's
so much
awesome.
intent in that. Like, it's like, that's what I love. I love that level of, well, if you're going to name something, let's not just make up a name. Let's do something with it.
Oh, that's great. That's a good story. That's good to know. Knowledge. Awesome. Sorry, I'm recovering from a cold. It's been a long month, a very long month for me, and it's actually catching up to me physically.
You don't need to apologize for that, sir.
So I want to now move forward and talk to you about housing and houses in Japan and your story and how that all started. Because right now, like a lot of people from overseas are coming to Japan wanting to buy houses and buy homes. And just because the yen is just so incredibly weak here, you can get a pretty, I mean, you can get like a huge apartment in Tokyo for a fraction of the price in the States. It's crazy, and people are actually doing that. Every time I go on, I'm talking to people that just moved to Japan that bought a house or bought an apartment, and I'm just like, you bought an apartment, like a condominium in like Shibuya? That's for me, that's impossible. I can barely afford this place. So
Housing in Australia is a lot like, I assume, housing in most of the Western world. Where I live, Brisbane, on the East Coast, it's like the third biggest capital city in Australia. The average house price just cracked, I think, $1.1 million. So about 650,000 US is the average house price.
wow.
I don't have 650,000 cents. So in going to Japan, obviously fell in love with the place over the last sort of 25 years or so. And then through a gentleman called Shane, who's Violent Crumble on Instagram, started really getting into, Haikyo, the urban ruins. He does a lot of urbex exploring, and then learning more about that, and then learning about IKEA houses, like, abandoned houses. Then found an Instagram called Cheap Houses Japan, where the guy's not a real estate agent. He's from memory, I chatted with Febby online, an IT guy, I think from memory, is American who was living in Thailand. But he went to Japan, fell in love with the place, and said, I want to buy a house here. And all people knew said, you can't. And he went, are you sure? And researched it, and then worked out he could, bought one. So his Instagram was basically, he's not a real estate agent. He just scoured the internet for the best houses that he found, and he just posted about them. And he posted a how-to guide. So he was trying to make everyone else's job easier than what he had to go through to work out how to buy one. So probably about 3 years ago, I started seriously sort of going, okay, this is something I'd like to do. Like, my intention is not to live in Japan at this point anyway. I've got a daughter here, and so I like being close to her. And my Japan has always just been this incredible base for adventure for me. It's a place where every time I go to Japan, I have a better time than the last time. And so I like doing a lot of interesting things, and Japan's a place where you can do a lot of interesting things. So the idea of buying a house was always, for me, just a springboard for adventure. I can get a 90-day tourist visa, and if I stay in Japan for 2 weeks or 12 weeks, the really big difference is accommodation costs. So my thought was that, well, if I buy my own accommodation, basically, I don't want to Airbnb it. That's just stress. I don't want to Airbnb it because I don't need to make money. Cut to the end of the story, to come back to the beginning of the story. I just, in September, so technically contracts were signed in March of this year for the house I purchased. So it ended up being basically 3 buildings on one block. Cool. And sort of a Showa era family home, which was a registered building, and a shop front, 2-story shop front, and essentially a workshop and workers accommodation on a corner block on an island called Hakutajima in the Seto Sea, which is on the Shimanami Kaido bike path. Do you know about Shimanami Kaido?
I've never been there, but I know of it, yeah.
And so all up, everything, taxes, agent fees, everything, it was 10,000 Australian dollars. So about 6,500 US.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's profitable. For me, coming from, so when I was spoken to Japan, it's about, basically the island's about 2.5, 3 hours from Osaka. So for Japanese people, that's a really big distance.
Yeah.
For an Australian, that's a daily commute. Like, it's not that challenging. And so the area, I really like it because it's not touristy down there per se as much as Tokyo or Osaka or Kyoto is. Also because of the bike path, foreigners aren't completely strange to be there though. So you're not a complete oddity. And obviously, like, I'm fairly heavily tattooed, so I can, and I'm 6 foot tall and got a beard and definitely stand out probably a little in rural Japan. And the area is just so rich with history. Like, there's a shrine I went to on the next island over, I think it's Oshima Island, which is it houses one of the biggest publicly viewable displays of samurai swords in Japan. And samurai would go to this shrine before and after battle to pray and thank the gods. That shrine, which houses the collection, was built in 594. So to be a 25-minute push bike ride from my little island to that island, 30-minute push bike ride, that's wild,
That's pretty cool.
So I started looking at houses more seriously at the beginning of last year when I met up with you. I went and looked at a house in Onamichi at one end of the Shimanami Kaido. I'm probably going to butcher all these pronunciations as well. I'm sorry, especially with the extra vowels we put into Australian words. And that was about 3,000 Australian dollars plus all costs. And that one ended up falling through. And there's so much about Japan that is just the complete opposite of every other place in the world at the moment, where a house may be offered up for sale before it can legally truly be sold because they may not have actually gone and spoken to all members of the family who are in the will, for example. And so a lot of what I learned, and again, this is just my experience, not saying this is the actual experience for everyone, but a lot of my experience was that, say I own a house, well, we own a house that our great-granddad left us. You live in Tokyo, I live in Hiroshima. I'm not going to bother you about selling the house until there's someone who wants to buy it. Mm-hmm. A lot of the, especially the IKEA, the more abandoned style ones, not ones that are in a government database, ones that are listed, but essentially a vacant house. I'm going to put it on the market and see if there's interest first. If there's interest, I'm going to come to you and say, hey, great-granddad's house, we've got to buy it for it. Let's sell it. What happened with this one I was looking at in Onamichi was essentially there might, I think from memory, there might have been 7 people in the will that technically owned the house.
Wow.
So up until April of last year, from memory, as is a lot of stuff in Japan, all people had to be physically present to put the Hanko onto the contracts. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to message you, let alone potentially 5 or 6 other people, and go, hey, I need you to come down to great-granddad's house and do this real estate stuff next week or in a month's time. And being a Japanese person, you've probably got 7 days annual leave and that's it. And you're going to go, okay, well, it's going to take a bit of time and I'll get down there, but how much is my cut? And you're going to go, $300 because they're not worth anything. Mm-hmm. And you're going to go, yeah, I'm cool. Thanks. I don't need to do that. Just put it on the too hard list. And so I was doing a lot of reading of government reports, and the most sort of up-to-date Japanese reports from the government that I read was that currently they believe there's between 10 and 13 million vacant houses in Japan.
Oh yeah, easy. There's ghost towns, tons of them.
I mean, I like that. Last year I met up with you, I drove 6,000 kilometers, about 4,500 miles in 4 weeks through a lot of Japan, and saw a lot of that. And so another report I read from the government was that in terms of commercial, residential, farmland, forest, everything, 20% of the Japanese landmass, it's not currently distinctly known who owns it. Mm-hmm. Like a fifth of the country is kind of in this two-part basket. Yeah. So again, for you coming from America, me coming from Australia, that's wild.
It's kind of like Detroit.
Dude, did you see the RoboCop statue finally got put up?
Yeah, they've been talking about that since I can remember.
I drove through Detroit in 2015. I bought a 1973 Charger in Indianapolis, and one of my best friends, Jugs, and I, in 7 days, we drove through 10 states of America and Canada, up through Detroit. I wanted to take the car home. RoboCop wasn't there yet. Drove across the bottom of Canada, down the East Coast to Baltimore. We did that in 5 or 6 days. Nice. And this 73 Charger was amazing. So go back to Japan. So the Onamichi house fell through, and it wasn't because I was a gaijin. It wasn't. It was just simply that there's these, as you know so well, much more than me, there's this strange unspoken Japanese social etiquettes and faux pas. That simply, what happened is the person who's put it up for sale then became embarrassed that he couldn't organize all the thing to happen, so just stopped talking to the real estate agent. And then last year the government also brought in, from what I can understand, an IKEA tax, because obviously the government's got to try and work out what to do about this problem in Japan.
Oh yeah.
So that's sort of one little thing to start pushing Japanese people to do something with the inheritance houses or buildings they've got. A big change, which I think happened in memory of May of last year, which I really haven't read a lot about yet, is that I think in April or May of last year, the government changed the law so real estate contracts could be signed electronically.
Oh, that is good. Well, there you go.
So the house I bought, I signed in March. I bought the house, did all the contracts, it was all done electronically. So that obviously is, again, a small step towards making it so, if you've got 15 people in the will, 6 people in the will, whatever, it's becoming a little bit easier. Because the situation obviously is as well, especially with Japan having such long lifespans and such lineage, you might be looking at a house that's been willed to 5 people. 2 of those people might be dead. And then you have to work out, well, who did their part of the inheritance go to?
Oh.
And that's why I think it's just this giant too hard basket from what I can understand.
Oh my God.
I don't think of having 10 to 13 million vacant houses. So I went through a real estate agent who I met last year. So I drove through, obviously going to Onamichi to look at the first house that didn't end up happening. I drove all along the Shimanami Kaido, stopped at looked at all the islands, and just really loved the area. Like, especially that area, you're sort of stepping back into anywhere from 1950s to 1970s Japan still. Like there is a lot of businesses, like it's an area of Japan that hasn't super progressed, but is still very accessible and has modern conveniences.
Yeah.
So the island that I bought the house on, Hakatajima, is about 20 square miles. It has about 5,000 people. It's linked to the mainland by the toll roads, or free if you're on a push bike or walking. But there's a 24-hour Lawson's. There's a 1 Michelin star sushi restaurant. There's a Zag pharmacy. There's a Home Depot kind of hardware store. Like, it has everything I need as far as conveniences goes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally in the middle of the inland sea. I'm in the ocean. It's wild. And that a big part of what I love is that whole area. I mean, there's over 3,000 islands in the inland sea, and only about 280 are inhabited.
Yeah.
That's a lot of exploring to do, you know. And the whole
knows
area
what you can find, man. I'm sure you find all sorts of treasures.
So the whole area was run by the Murakami clan, who were essentially at one point the toll keepers of the inland sea and also neighborhood watch. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember exactly which year, and I don't remember exactly which shogun, but basically they were told they had to join the shogun's naval fleet. They said no, and he outlawed them. So there's actually a museum on one of the other islands dedicated to the Murakami family. And what was cool, and again, this isn't uncommon in the area, but the house that I owned, all the personal documents I found in it, showed direct lineage to the Murakami family.
That's awesome.
So, what a pirate house.
That is cool. That is really, really cool.
So so the real estate agent I went through, I met last year. He's definitely not your average real estate agent. He's a super lovely guy. Another thing that changed was that what I found out was that up until, again, that sort of April, May of last year, there was a fixed fee that a real estate agent could charge for selling one of these style of houses in this price range. Mm-hmm. And it was essentially $300 US. That was the most they could earn in commission. So it's a lot of work for not a lot of money. And so the law changed last year. I think it's now sort of 3% or up to essentially $3,000 US can be charged for a commission. So I technically paid $2,800 commission. So for Japan, that's suddenly gone. That's a 1,000% increase. It's gone from $300 to $3,000. But for me, it's a $2,800, $3,000 commission on a $5,000 house. I don't care. You know, it's still a normal deposit for a house in Australia at the moment. It's like $150,000. So yeah, I paid technically a 40% commission on the house or something. That's probably wrong. My math's so bad, but the sum total was still this incredibly affordable house. And he was really cool. The Moto-san, the real estate, was really cool. So when the documents had to be witnessed by a judicial scrivener, which in Australia is a JP, I don't know what the American equivalent would be, like Justice of the Peace. I'm not sure what the American equivalent would be. He went down and FaceTimed me because he'd witnessed it all. He'd seen my documents, and he FaceTimed me with the judicial scrivener to do the witnessing of all my documents. So just that little bit, because he was a little bit more of a left of center guy. He was happy to go on FaceTime, you know, to get it done. And also because I assume all of a sudden we're talking about $3,000 commission, it's worth driving down to the local office.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I went there in September for the first time to see the house. So some Americans I met who run an Airbnb called Benton Homestead on Omishima Island, one of the next islands over again. They're really good. They offer a great service. And they actually helped me, paid service to go and photograph the house, do a walkthrough, shoot video. So I'd seen the interior of the house. I'd seen lots of stuff. And so, yeah, in September, I flew over and opened the doors to my house for the first time. It was very surreal. You got a bug?
I've got a mosquito in. Oh, did I get him? Oh, dude. Got him. Yes.
Yeah.
Got a mosquito that's been like flying around my head for the last 10 minutes. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I'm so unprofessional.
That's right. That's you channeling Bruce Lee in the background there.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God.
They argue on. Yeah.
Yep, I got him.
So it was very, yeah, it was a pretty, so I flew into Tokyo. A friend of mine, Aaron, who American Jen, who's lived in Japan for about the same time as you. He lives in Tokyo, but he owns a place in Chiba and he farms organic rice out there. So I went out and helped him. So last year when I was there, I helped. When I say helped, because I was not that far post spinal surgery, I stood around while he did stuff. So last year I was there for the rice planting, and this year I was there for the rice harvest, which was amazing. And yeah, again, as a Westerner, we've never eaten fresh rice. It's just not the same.
Yeah,
and,
night and day.
I helped him with the rice harvest for a couple of days. Then I borrowed his K truck, and again, we tell a Japanese person that you drove 2,500, 1,800 miles in a K truck. They just, what are you doing? That's insane.
Yeah, it is.
It was. I have discovered that. So last time, when I did the 6,000 kilometers last year, I was in a camper van. So when I was tired, I'd just pull over and sleep. Yeah. And I hadn't factored that into the fact that there was not enough, because a whole bunch of stuff that I bought over the last couple of trips, which had been stored at Aaron's, was in the K truck. So if I wanted to sleep, I literally had to pull over to the side of the road, wind down both lots of windows, put my feet out one side, and my head actually stuck out the other side a little bit of the cab to sleep. And that typhoon that just hit, I drove through that to get down there, and it was wild. Yeah. So I drove to Nagoya and stayed with one of Aaron's friends there. Really lovely guy called Ken, who has a business called House of Fun, where he does like fit out stuff, and he's amazing crafts, like traditional craftsmen, also modern craftsmen. And then I drove to Kyoto specifically to eat at this dessert restaurant, and I can't remember the name of it, and I butcher it anyway. But essentially, it's a dessert restaurant in Kyoto, which is in the grounds of a temple, which is officially recognized by the Guinness Book of Records as the oldest sweets restaurant in the world. It's been continuously trading for 1,000 years.
Wow.
And they sell one thing. Again, Ibori mochi, I think it's called.
Ibori mochi.
It's basically like a sweet pastry that's char grilled, and it's served with a sweet white miso paste on skewers. Oh, man, and again, in true Japan style, there's no signage saying it's the oldest. Like in America or Australia, there'll be a giant neon sign outside, and so I got there and I got to eat at the oldest sweets restaurant in the world. And again, because it's Japan, I paid like $4 US for this plate full of this delicious treat. And this is these experiences I have in Japan. Like, there's not many countries you can eat at 1,000-year-old anything, let alone for $6, $4 US. And so again, that was hilarious. That the woman at the restaurant asked me, I drove from Nagoya that day, which for me isn't a big drive, but for a Japanese person it was. And she said, why are you here? I said, I came just to eat here. And there's this disconnect, again, that Japanese humbleness, but also Japanese, like, it's not weird for them. They've been making that, their families have been making it for 1,000 years. That's what they do. They don't sort of see it as an oddity at all. So that's one of the things I love about Japan. $6 to eat. And you know this, living in Tokyo, I think Tokyo has the highest number of Michelin-starred restaurants in the world now.
That makes sense.
One Michelin-star restaurant you can eat out of Tokyo for like under $20. That's insane. Another mosquito.
No. I was thinking about that. Which restaurant it was? No. If there's a mosquito, I'm gonna have like a sign so you know. I'm gonna be like,
little vampire.
Yeah. That's
so then I drove from Kyoto through the typhoon in a K truck, which was quite wild. And then got to the house and then started exploring. And again, this is one of the most surreal things for anyone from a sort of especially a Western country, that it was filled with the previous owner's belongings still.
Oh yeah.
And for me, being a junk hunter and a treasure hunter, that's literally one of the reasons I bought it. Like I want to explore an abandoned house that's not actually abandoned, but it's been so no one had lived there for about 13 years, and the stuff that was inside was just wild. I mean, just even on the level of antiques, like kabuki dolls and geisha dolls, and in the backyard was an old anchor that was about 4.5 foot tall. Nice. And it appears that so all the family, I shouldn't say all, a lot of the family's personal documents were still in the house. And again, no, that's good. A very eye-opening that there was 2 American occupation, I don't know what the word for me, but sort of travel documents from 1948 that was the Murakami gentleman, I think the father of the man that technically I bought, was the last owner of the house. And these are documents that Japanese people everywhere under American occupation, or Allied occupation, I should say, because we were there as well, had to show documents to travel anywhere internally in Japan. Mm-hmm. And we forget that, there was a lot of photo albums I found, and the photo albums, I mean, there's photos that are going back like hundreds of, like well over 100 years.
Very cool.
And it's sadly beautiful. Like, it's really sad. The families in Japan, a lot of families just aren't interested in it. And I think there's a myriad of reasons. There's, space, obviously, being a premium in a lot of Japanese cities. They don't have room for these things, but there seems to be a sort of, a disconnect from, again, I don't understand. I'm trying to learn about it. How can you be a country that has such an interest in heritage and lineage, but not necessarily your own as an individual person?
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. I'm actually a big fan and lover of Japanese antiques. I collect tsubas, it's like the handguards and samurai swords. Yeah, I collect those.
I've got a couple I'm going to send you that were in there.
No, I got more than enough. But I love tsubas.
You haven't seen them yet.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm not gonna say no,
but you don't have to accept them, but you should check them out first.
Oh my gosh! But I love tsubas. I love like the old Japanese like comics, and before even comics even existed, they're just like books with pictures. But I mean, they're basically comics. And I love those. I love the traditional Japanese pipes, the tobacco pipes. I just love all that stuff so much. My wife and I, sometimes we go to antique shows and we check out all this stuff and we just love it. Even if we don't even buy anything, we just go there and look around and stuff. And even old paintings. I mean, I've got one painting that's like kind of haunted, so we can't hang it up or anything like that. If we do, we get bad dreams. So it's like hidden away. Yeah. So like, I mean, I used to have it out and all of a sudden like we're both having nightmares, like waking up like,
That's again a hard thing for Westerners to get their head around a little bit. And again, I don't know the ins and outs culturally, but there is that belief that everything has an energy to it. So if you really, really hated your great granddad, well, why would you want his things?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're worth money, or it's like, why would I want that energy around me?
Yeah, true. But one thing that I've noticed regarding like antiques in Japan, like the antique shows here are absolutely amazing because people don't really like old things here so much. A lot of people just like new stuff. New is better. New fashion, new designs, new games, new technology, new cars, new motorcycles, Kawasaki's, Toyotas, new is better. So things that are like old, it's just like, why do you want that? That's old. Like my wife, here's a funny story. My wife comes from a long line of sword makers up in Niigata.
No way.
Yeah. She never made them, and her father never made them, but his father did, and his grandfather did, and his great-grandfather did, and so on, right? And so when my wife told me about that, she's like, yeah, everybody in my family made swords, for like years and years and years for like the shogun up there. And like, and I started asking her all these questions. I'm like, so when there's like the big wars, with Nobunaga and all these other like samurai shoguns, like were your family's swords used? And she's like, oh yeah, of course, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. So then when I talked to her dad about that, I was like, so your family made swords? He's like, yeah, we made swords, but now I work for NTT. And I'm like, yeah, but tell me more about the swords. Oh, the swords are okay, it's just something we did, and I'm like, no, you have no idea how cool this is for me. I mean, tell me more. And he's like,
again, Like,
Yeah.
like the sweets place in Kyoto. Yeah, we've been open 1,000 years. What about it?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah. After the Americans came in, they said we can't make swords. We made bikes for a little bit, and then we all got jobs at NTT. I was like, oh my god.
That's it. And then also further to that, there's that, and I'm not suggesting this is your in-laws family at all, but there's a lot of, especially World War II era stuff. There's a lot of shame about military involvement, or and I think again the dichotomy of Japan. You think about all the stuff that you and I love, Godzilla, Gundams, Gigantor. That's all post-atomic bomb Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that whole idea of Godzilla is, I think Godzilla is so, again, my view of it, so represents the psyche of Japan as a country, that what monsters must we be that they did this to us? Like that collective consciousness of, well, because you think about it, Godzilla was created from radiation.
Yeah.
So he's a direct byproduct of nuclear war. And so I think a lot of that lends back to the photo albums, and that in the house that I bought, like the photo albums were tucked away far in a corner, just like not they weren't out on display, like nothing at all. There was a 1942 a graduation book from a 1942 graduating naval class into the Japanese Navy.
Wow.
Like actual book that all graduates were given to their family to show, and man, the imagery in that book, that's not a photo album, that's an actual printed book for the graduating class. Going back to again, I've only learned since I've been there, but this last time, that, with the rising sun flag, the Navy had a different rising sun to the Army. So the Navy rising sun, the center is set, you'll appreciate this as an artist and graphic designer, the center is offset to the left. That's to display a dynamic movement on the ocean, that the flag is moving. In the Army rising sun, it was set in the very middle to display a balance over the battlefield.
Wow, knowledge.
It's like, wow, that's so, and I love that. And so in the house, another thing that was in the house was I found so the family that owned the house, I don't know that they were rich per se, but I think on that island they were in very high standing. So the island, from what I can understand, it basically exists still in terms of commerce. I mean, there's two very big shipbuilders there still, not building like, super tankers, but building, 150, 200 foot big metal seagoing vessels and so that's on the island still, both those shipbuilders. It's also a very big fishing port. So it's a lot of fishing industry there. And a box I found upstairs in the attic of the main family house was filled with these bright, colorful flags. And again, I don't know the Japanese words, I'll butcher them, but they're essentially called big catch flags. And what they were for was that when you went out to sea to catch fish in your boat, you would fly one of these, and it literally could have your fishing company on it, prayers to gods, Dairuma, one of the seven, Shichifukujin, the seven lucky gods of fortune. You know about those guys?
Yo, what's up, Vader? Scott Vader Japan has got a new sponsor. Our new sponsor is Gamuso Bar, located in Asagaya, Tokyo. If you're kicking it in Tokyo and you want to get your groove on, get your fade on, you better get your ass down to Gamuso. Gamuso is located in Asagaya. It's about 11 minutes from Shinjuku Station on the Chuo line. Gamuso has weekly bands, weekly performances. And hell, if you got your own event and you want to hold it at Gamuso, we'd love to host you. So contact Gamuso at www.gamuso.com. That's www.gamuso.com. That's right, Gamuso has not only beers in the bottle, but beers on tap. We've got every drink you want, so come on down to Gamuso. Gamuso, and if I'm working, tip me.
Have your attention, please. Attention.
Hey, yo, what's up, Vaders? Johnny here. You know I love booze and news, but I also love art. So come on down to thespiltinc.com and check my art out. I've got tons of stuff there for you to check out. And I've got paintings, I got prints, I got videos. And I tell you what, if you like a painting, I could probably sell it to you. And I tell you what, if I can't sell you that painting, I will definitely sell you a print. I've got prints of all my work. Prints are about 2,000 N each, about $20. But if you buy two, you get the third one for free. So come on down to thespiltink.com. Yo, and on top of that, I'm looking for commissioned work. So if there's something that you want me to do, I can make it for you. Just check out my stuff and see if you like my style. And if you like my style, I can definitely paint you anything on canvas, paper, whatever. I've done it all. So come on down to thespiltink.com. That is THESPILTINK.com. Thespiltink.com. Proper.
Mitsuya Liquors. Yo, what's up, faders? If you're in Asia, if you're in Japan, if you're in Tokyo, if you're in Asagaya, you better get down to Mitsuya Liquors. That's right. For the most affordable prices in Japan, you can get over 300 different kinds of beer. That's right, over 300 different kinds of beer. And of course, they got all the shochu you need, all the sake you need, and of course, they got wine from California to Italy to France to New Zealand. They got it all. When I say they got it all, they really, seriously got it all. There's no joke about that. So get down to Mitsuya Liquors. And if you go in there and you say, got fit in Japan, you will be more than welcome to go into their back room and drink those beers that you just purchased. That's right, got fit in Japan at Mitsuya Liquors. And 3 times a week, they have a sushi chef there. So get your sushi on, get your drink on, get your fade on, and come on down to Mitsuya Liquors, located comfortably in Asagaya, about 5-minute walk from the station.
In Tokyo and craving soul food? We've got just the place for you. Soul Food House in Azabujuban. Check out what we do at soulfoodhouse.com. Come by and taste the love. We look forward to feeding you.
Are you in Harajuku with some out-of-town friends or your family or significant others? Yeah! Do you want to chill and drink beer and eat sandwiches while your friends overpay for glitter unicorn socks? Yeah!
And the flavor's gonna make you complete at Harry's Sandwich Company.
So come on down to Harry's Sandwich Company in the heart of Harajuku, right off Takeshita Street. See you there!
Okay, so even that lineage. So 7 gods of good fortune became the 7 samurai, became the Magnificent 7, which then inspired George Lucas to create characters for Star Wars.
Jeez.
So this lineage of Japanese mythology is so long. So anyway, so there was about 40 of these big catch flags, and they're hand stained from, looks like 1960s or so, like hand dyed with these incredible patterns and motifs. And the Shiji Fukujin's been a really long, again, I'm probably saying that the wrong way, but it's the 7 gods of good fortune in Japan have been this, my interactions with them in Japan are constant and always wonderful. And even like one of the things I found in the house, at first I thought it was real, and I have mixed emotions about it not being real. It was a carved elephant's tusk, and it actually was an incredibly good resin carved elephant's tusk. But it's a scene of the 7 lucky gods of fortune. Some of the flags in the house, I think it's Dairuma. Dairuma, I think he's one of the gods who looks after fishermen. And he was painted on some of these big catch flags. Apart from the big anchor, there was beautiful old brass antique ship's compasses. And so I think the family were high up in I think it's just literally called the Hakata Island Shipbuilding Company. I like the practicalness of a lot of the Japanese company. I defit a private vet surgery here, an old racehorse surgery about a year and a bit ago now. It's part of what I do is I do like scrap metal and defit stuff. And this is an old private surgery, and I defit it. And there are giant 1960s surgical lights in there. Like
in amazing. The house?
No, in the private vet surgery. Because it was a vet surgery, and it was in a racing district, like horse racing district of Brisbane. And so they had, it was that person's home, but they had a vet surgery there specializing on equine stomach surgery. Oh. And the beautiful big surgical lights, there's 2 of them, roof mounted, were made by the Yamada Shadowless Light Company of Tokyo. And I love the practicalness of, we are the Yamada Shadowless Light Company of Tokyo. What do you make? Shadowless lights. There's like a real earnest simplicity to that, you know? Uh-huh. Probably the wildest thing in the safe. Sorry, in the house there was an old safe in the house, and this one did my head in.
Whoa.
The safe was not bolted down. and it was a mag lock safe. So like you have to, there's actually like a little magnet key you have to put in to sort of open it. And I've had attempts. I've been teaching myself lock picking and magnet safe cracking and stuff because I have ADD. And I opened it on the last day I was there with the help of the fine folks at Benton Homestead with an old angle grinder with a concrete cutting disc and
that's how you do it.
Pry bar and a 4B hammer. I got it open and there was gold and silver coins in there. So I literally found pirate gold. It was just insane.
Dude, that's awesome.
And so it was enough that the houses became free.
Oh my God, dude. That's what I call a score.
So basically, I sold the gold and silver coins for 17,500 Australian dollars.
Wow, amazing.
So and obviously that's the ludicrous. Again, I have always been very fortunate in my life. I've had a lot of I broke my back. Like that's bad, but I was super fortunate that I didn't get paralyzed. And so it's not luck finding that, because luck would be someone walks up to you and goes, "Hey, random stranger, here's some gold coins." But I was very fortunate that I put myself in the position where I bought an old house, which is, even though it's not a lot of money, there's still a lot of risk to it in some ways. And very, very lucky. It was pretty cool. So I haven't even looked through the house. There's an entire beautiful Japanese cedar, I would call it a chest of drawers. I don't know what it is, but specifically for kimonos upstairs, I call it thin drawers. And there's some insanely beautiful old kimonos in there that are all wrapped up in paper. I didn't touch them because my hands were so dirty. This time I was just filthy from tidying and everything. So that's the next trip over. We'll be going through that. And it's just, for me, that's better than getting given the keys to the Playboy Mansion. It's like, for me, it's like, that's the Playboy Mansion. It's like, I get to go into this 1950s house and workshop that's filled with stuff and explore, and I get to keep it all.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. And man, even like there was a bunch of old cigarette lighters in boxes. They had a lot of gifts in there. And I was, because obviously omiyagi, gift giving in Japan is a very big thing, but it appears as though, again, this is me sort of trying to work through the history of the house and the family. There's a lot of gifts to them still in boxes from a bank. I don't know how to say the word. It's IYO, and it's EO Bank, maybe, I don't know. But it appeared to be the only bank that had an office on the island itself. So I'm assuming that the shipbuilding company this guy was probably fairly high up in did banking with them. And so the anchor appears to be from, also in the house, in the photo albums, there's a photo of one specific boat, must be like, I don't know, 100 foot long or something, being launched. Looks like it's 1950s, 1960s. Mm-hmm. There's a model of the boat in a beautiful old antique glass cabinet in the house still. There's a full model of the boat.
Wow.
And there was, in a box, there was a ceramic plate marked on the back congratulating the gentleman on the successful launch of a boat. So I'm sort of tying those pieces together. So with the model boat, when I go back in April, May, because the shipbuilding company he worked for is still there, I want to go back and ask them if they would like the model boat for their office. I may say no, I don't know, but I think it'd be really nice to, I love it. It's a cool model boat, but this is a company that's still open and still trading. And I just want to offer it to them, say, if you guys want it, it's just yours to have,
Oh my God. They might give you a present back, like another cigarette lighter.
Well, honestly, man, like, I've been trying to look into how I go about getting a small boat license in Japan so I can start exploring. So I go metal detecting and that sort of stuff as well. And so I was kind of like, also I found, I think you'll appreciate this, down by the docks, I found what I would only describe as the dive bar for the workers.
Dive bar?
Yeah.
Nice. I
was a little apprehensive about going into by myself, tattooed gaijin. So I also was hoping that maybe if I present the boat model back to them, that might give me sort of a hall pass to go and have some beers at the dive bar, So,
dude, yeah, you get the keys to the city if you do that, man.
That's kind of the idea, but also it's just, I've tried to, like, when I don't fit in Japan, even in Tokyo, people still going to look at me, whatever, that's cool. I'm fine with that. Doesn't bother me. in a relatively rural area, I'm obviously going to stick out like a sore thumb. So I did up a letter and translated it into Japanese. This is a big change with AI that's helped incredibly since the last couple of times I've been there. Well, I can't speak Japanese, but like, for instance, I had to get some work done on the K truck while I was down there. I can translate my needs into Japanese appropriate for the situation.
Yeah.
So I did up a letter for all my immediate neighbors, and I brought packets of green tea from the town where I live in Brisbane, or Sunshine Coast north of Brisbane. There's a beautiful green tea plantation there. So I brought green tea from there. I brought like caramello koalas, like a little Australian chocolate treat. I brought bags of rice that I'd harvested in Chiba, and I presented this to all the neighbors. And I had those amazingly wonderful variety of responses. A very old woman directly opposite me. Again, the letter said, "Please excuse me, I cannot speak Japanese, and I apologize for this, but I'm here with goodwill. I want to make this house beautiful." And the houses that I bought, they're the only vacant houses in the sort of the block where it is. So it's the only one in that immediate block that's not got people living. I want to return the house to its glory, and she was very happy. Obvious in her body language that she was very happy about that. The old man next door, directly next door, read the letter and just waved me away.
Yeah, it's always the old guy.
Like, oh, well, but again, from my point of view, it doesn't bother me. I said, heavily tattooed beard, very obviously not Japanese. I'm an hour and a half from Hiroshima there. This guy's in his 90s. He more than likely has lived through an atomic bombing of a very nearby city. I can understand why there might be some untoward feelings. I'm a lifelong people pleaser, and for me, it was also really good to learn that, and this is very Japan, I think, that you can be ignored in a polite way. If that makes sense. Like, I got it. There is that shut off face, and then the gentleman on the corner block, he's a truck driver, spoke a little English. He was absolutely lovely, like amazing. He bought me a hot bottle of cold water before he even met me. He saw me hot and bothered from doing work and brought me a bottle of cold water. He that night he went over the fence and gave me cold alcohol, and he
best neighbor ever.
He was just really lovely. He loved the rice. I mean, and my friend Aaron said to me, he said, if one person in the neighborhood speaks well of you, that's the start. That's all you need. One person. You don't have to impress everybody. As long as one person is sort of going, no, he's all right. And so the old guy right next door, he would, what's the front room? Doma? Is that the front room of the house? The little where the sliding door would be, where you take your shoes off and everything? I guess so. Anyway, I guess so. Yeah, I'm sitting in that little front area.
Small apartment.
I'm sitting in that front area, working on an old push bike that was there. The door's open to the street, and every day I would hear him shuffling past me. He had a very distinct shuffle, and it was wild. He would shuffle to the open door. He's probably standing like 10 feet from me. He would stop, turn and look at me. It felt like hours. It was probably 10 seconds at a time, complete blank face. And then he'd just turn and shuffle off again. And I started to really love, I was like, yeah, old man, you are staunch. I love this, And on my second last day there, I finally got a nod from him.
Ooh, there you go. You got it.
And yeah, you'd love this. Under 200 meters from the house is a little old antique store.
Run
by people who looked to be about 5,000 years old. The man had the oxygen tank in the trailer behind him walking around. And I wanted a tanuki statue for my house.
Nice.
And so I found a whole bunch. I'm still hoping there might be a little stash of paper money in the house somewhere. I've literally looked through less than 50% of the stuff that's in the buildings. But I found the grandma stash of 100 yen coins. Like, the stash where someone's, when the grandkids come over, got the pocket money thing. So it's about 250 Australian dollars worth. I was like, I'm going to spend some of that on a tanuki. And so I went there and I gave them the letter and the rice, and they loved that. And I bought a ceramic tanuki for outside my house. And for people who are listening, I don't go into too much rabbit hole. Tanukis are a Japanese raccoon dog. They're very big in Japanese mythology. They're the ones with the giant balls you see in all the cartoons, and they're a mischievous shapeshifter, not an evil character at all. They're simply a mischievous shapeshifter. And in Japanese mythology, it's like if a man went out and got drunk and spent all his money, he didn't spend all his money on alcohol. He met this man who was a tanuki who'd shapeshifted, and he tricked him out of his money.
Yeah,
and that's where my money went. Kind of
happened to me last night.
Yeah, right. And so they were really lovely. The mechanic. So the again, on the unfortunate side of things, the car. The timing belt went on the car I bought off my friend Aaron. Thankfully, not a lot of damage, as in it didn't destroy the engine. But there was a dealership, again, 500 meters from the house. And I take the car up there, and I'm using the translate to, explain what the problem is. And the lovely man who owned the dealership is on his phone. He's saying, "Translator, okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, of course." I thought he's going to hand me the phone. He goes, "Okay," hangs up and says, "Wait." And his wife comes down, she drives down, and she speaks really good English. So he's called her to come down to help me. So I gave them rice and the chocolates. And when I went back, they had the rice and my letter on display in their office. And I was just like, oh, wow, man, so good. Yeah. So the whole, so like it's, so for me, I'm never, not in the next little while, I'm not going to live there, but I also don't want to be problematic there either. I don't want to cause stress unnecessarily.
Yeah.
I'm not like a loud dude. I'm not like a crazy big party guy pumping music every night and stuff. That's not what and so, I feel like I did a good first job of not being completely offensive. That's the best way I can sum it up.
I think what you did was solid gold, man, especially with the presents. The presents probably meant so much. I mean, definitely meant so much to them. Probably the chocolate more than the rice, but yeah, that's awesome.
Well, what I've tried to do as well is a big part of why Aaron started farming the rice, what he told me out in Chiba, was that he wanted to show he was giving to the community. That he's not just there sort of taking. And so my letter explained that I had helped harvest the rice the week beforehand. And so I was, I'm not just here, So I was like, So in the letter, it explained that I helped my friend harvest this rice in Chiba the week beforehand, and so I wanted to sort of explain a little bit the chocolate. And again, I don't know, like if you've actually done a podcast, you could literally do a podcast about omiyagi, the present giving. That's where the Kit Kats come from, and and I love that. I love that thoughtfulness about it. Like, so I've sort of adopted the omiyagi thing as a bit of a thing for me. So say for the first time I come to your house, you invite me to your house for your first time, not suggesting you have to, I would 100% bring a small gift for you because you're opening the doors to your kingdom.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that 100%. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I love that 100%. I think anytime anybody goes to somebody's house, they should definitely have a gift. I think that's especially for like a dinner party. But the one thing, I want to go back to the rice. I thought you brought rice from Australia to Japan. So I was like, oh. But
you brought shit Australian rice to Japan.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was kind of. I was like, what is this? The chocolate probably goes, you should have brought Cooper's.
Yeah, no, that's other things. I brought Australian chocolate, Australian tea, because I helped Aaron with the rice harvest. I thought, man, this is literally, and his rice is completely organic, spring fed, like it's absolutely amazing rice. So I knew that I was bringing top shelf rice for them. The green tea is different to Japanese green. I mean, it's from the same, obviously not exactly the same green tea plant, but it's green tea, but it's prepared differently. So I knew green tea is such a big part of Japanese culture, but it was a different flavor for them. Obviously, the caramello koala, it's not about the or you say caramel koala. It's not about the flavor per se. It's the fact that it was actually a little koala. And so I thought, I'm giving it to older people. They're gonna have grandkids come over, so cool. They can give them a little chocolate koala, and the whole experience was just wild, dude. Or just even like there's a Shinto temple about 300 meters from the house, and what are the big drums? I can't remember what they're called. There was a festival coming up about a week after I had left but there's a whole group of young dudes who are up there practicing the giant big drums every night.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was this one night where I'm lying out in the back concrete deck area of the house, and there was a thunderstorm rolling over. There's like a little mountain behind my house, and there's a thunderstorm rolling over. There was thunder and lightning, and also interspersed by these giant temple drums. And I was like, this is insane. I'm literally living in a Japanese movie. It was crazy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So the idea I've got for, like, I don't want to Airbnb the place, but I don't have a huge circle of friends, but I've got people who are very close to me. I call it my council of the wise, and I want them to be able to go, hey, we're going to go to Japan for like a holiday. Cool. Go for 2 weeks and still do crazy Tokyo, crazy Osaka, but go and stay in the house for free if you want. And weirdly, a lot of this came from listening to a podcast with David Lee Roth. And I never knew this about him, that when he got kicked out of Van Halen, he moved to Japan for 2 years by himself, specifically to learn Japanese sword fighting and calligraphy. I thought that was so cool, because in modern life, we're not afforded the opportunity to learn simply for the sake of learning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not offered to us because of modern stress, you know? And so in the second building, their old shop, and that the workers there and stuff, to renovate that back to livable would be quite expensive. The main house, it's incredible. Touch wood. I was blown away how good it was. There was no structural damage. There was 2 giant thunderstorms. I was there, no leaks, no dank. I might have to replace 2 tatami mats, and there's spare tatami mats there anyway. I was blown away how good it was. So with the second building, I'm going to turn that into a garage and a workshop. And the gentleman at some point was a shoemaker, and they looked to run a little school upstairs and did so there's old woodworking tools, old shoemaking tools, lots of calligraphy stuff. So I want to set up a little area so people can come and go, well, I'd like to try calligraphy. Cool. There's all the paper. Because, man, there's reams of vintage calligraphy paper.
Whoa.
There is boxes and boxes of 1960s and 1970s Japanese pencils in their boxes still. Some of the best electric pencil sharpeners I've ever seen. So I want to set up so if friends come and stay at the house there, like I don't have to be there, they can go, cool, let's try some calligraphy. And there's the proper old, ink stones with you mix up the ink, and there's old whetstones for sharpening knives. And so I just want to make it where someone can go and immerse themselves, because there's grocery stores all around. Cool. Try and teach yourself how to make ramen. You know?
Wow, dude, that's awesome. That's really, really great.
And so that's the idea. Is just that David Lee Roth podcast really made me kind of go, man, that's what I want. I want to be able to, like, I don't have a full-time job per se. I do a bunch of different things, and especially rehabbing post breaking my spine. I just like the idea of any people going just Airbnb. That's just more stress. And the whole idea of that is to, well, do that to get more money. It's like, well, I'm really lucky to be walking at all. And I'm really fortunate that I bought this house and it's already paid itself back to me. Why do I have to make more money? Can't I just be happy with that and help other people not have to make as much money if they want to go and spend some more time there? And I just want to, we're really lucky in Australia that Jetstar flies. This is not a paid advertisement, so I shouldn't have said the name. A Australian airline flies 2 or 3 times a year, return to Tokyo and Osaka for sort of 600 to 700 Australian, about 450 US.
Wow.
It's an 8.5 hour flight for us. That's, again, short for us. And so I can fly for 8.5 hours, go through customs, catch a train for about 3 hours, and I'm on the island in my house. Sweet. In an area where there's a shrine I can go and visit that was built in 594, or keep exploring my own house, or try and find an uninhabited island and just explore what's on it, metal. So it's interesting. I went metal detecting a couple of times over the last few years. So I took metal detecting equipment over with me that I had, left it there. And all these people telling me metal detecting is illegal. And again, it's not. It's illegal. No, it's not at all. But it's illegal to keep anything you find, because that's Japanese law. But you can take an item you find to your local police station, register it with them, and if in 90 days it's not being claimed, it's yours.
Chances are nobody's going to claim it.
So I think the local police station is going to have to build a whole nother building just for the amount of stuff I'm going to try and find and take back to them, you know? So yeah, it's just the whole, like I said, every time I go to Japan, it's better and better. And it's just, as a person living in a very industrialized, apparently well-to-do country like Australia, it's becoming completely unaffordable. I don't have 401k. I've been self-employed my whole life pretty much. I've got, it doesn't exist. It's not there. I don't own a home here. So I think I'm sort of just building a little escape bubble that I can go to. Like before I broke my spine and moved back to my parents' house, I think, which is a humbling experience, like, you know, at 50 years of age, to move back to your parents' garage. I think it's a very lovely garage in a very nice forest area of the Sunshine Coast hinterland. So it's not terrible at all. But that's sort of the trade-off, is that I don't have to work a proper job at the moment. I get to hang out and do fun, weird stuff and spend time with my daughter. And that's the idea, is that do some work, Jetstar goes on sale, cool, buy a ticket, go spend 3 months in Japan doing Japan stuff.
But that's awesome. Oh my God. You know, just within the last hour and a half, I think you answered pretty much all my questions that I had for you. Oh my God.
Can I tell you about this?
Wait.
This, you don't,
I do have one question.
Go.
Actually, two. How many buildings or houses or homes do you own in Japan per se?
Technically 3 on one block.
3 on one block, and then that other one on the island?
No. The one on the island is the only one I own.
Oh, really?
The other ones I went and looked at all fell through for different reasons.
Okay.
The one I've just been to was the only one that I technically own, but it's 3 buildings essentially on one block. It's even got it's got a well on the block. It's got its own well, you know. Yes,
everything you need.
Technically 3 buildings. So the two other. So the family home is a registered home, a building. It's on all the council records and everything. If you look on Google Maps, you can see it in the map bit, not the satellite, the actual map bit. And the other 2 buildings, the shop, the school bit, and the workers area and workshop, they're not registered buildings, which doesn't cause me any problems. But if you wanted to borrow money from a bank to buy them, that would be problematic. But yeah, I didn't borrow any money, so
yeah, you're fine.
What's the second question?
The second question. Okay, so you're planning on buying more property in Japan. What are some red flags? Like when you walk into like in a house or a building or something, what would be something that would like basically turn you off immediately? I mean, obviously black mold or a body, but is there anything else?
Well, strangely, in Japan, did you say body?
Yeah, or a body. Yeah, you walk in, you're like,
in Japan, this is interesting. I found out legally, if there's been a non-accidental death, i.e., murder or suicide, it must be declared in the advertisement. And generally, you may be looking at a 40% discount on market value.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, we could have a whole podcast on that alone. There's. I've got my own experiences in that. Yeah.
It's what. Well, for me, I definitely want to buy something else in Japan. I've been looking at buying some forest area somewhere.
You can buy a mountain. Mountains are cheap here.
Yeah, so you can't legally buy farmland if you're not going to farm. Like if you buy to purchase farmland, you have to. But forest, you can. So I've been kind of looking at the idea of maybe buying like 20 or 30 acres. Because again, I've been snowboarding a couple of times in Japan, but on the not on the North Island, still on the mainland. But
Niigata.
I've been looking at areas around between Hiroshima and Osaka. There's still really, for a person from Australia, incredibly good snow areas. And so I've been looking at the idea of buying like 20 or 30 acres and basically just building my own little snowboarding run.
Oh, yeah.
Build a log cabin, build a log cabin, really rudimentary cabin, buy a snowmobile and just build my own snowboarding run.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's
so
the dream.
You can buy 20 or 30 acres for under 20,000 Australian dollars.
It's amazing. Oh yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I'm interested.
As far as the red flags, this is the problem. Red flags for me, green flags for me are red flags for some people. One of the biggest myths, which I've sort of myth busted was you read a lot online about how expensive it is to dispose of rubbish in Japan. Maybe it is in Tokyo. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's a rubbish dump, like a rubbish transfer station 5 minutes from the house I bought, and it was 100 Australian for a ton, which is pretty much the equivalent of what you pay here. But the recycling is so much better. So you can recycle ceramics, you can recycle a lot more glass stuff, you can recycle a bunch more plastic stuff. That's all free. And again, I don't know about Tokyo, and I know this is a lot more sort of regional areas have this. There's no rubbish bins, obviously, for houses. So you purchase specific plastic bags from local shops, and you put your rubbish or your recyclables or this or that. And there's these metal cages around the area. And so, Wednesday might be general refuse day. So you put your general refuse into one of these bags and put it in there. And even those, like a 70-liter bag was essentially $2 US for 10 of them. Like, okay, that's not that expensive in my mind, So even things like all the stuff being in the home is a red flag for some people, but for me, it's the giant green flag. I think the biggest thing, and again, be honest, if people want more detail, look up Cheap Houses Japan. The guy's got the most, and again, he doesn't make money out of selling houses. He's got an incredible FAQ, an incredible newsletter, and he's actually got an ebook he did called How to Buy a House in Japan.
There you go.
He basically wants to take the pain out of this situation for people. Obviously, earthquake stuff.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons I bought around the Seto Inland Sea is that I wanted to have a place near the ocean, but I'm terrified of tsunamis. Like that's just,
yeah. I've been.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So
yeah, that's a different podcast too that we could talk forever about. The earthquakes.
That whole area around the Seto Inland Sea is protected from tsunami by Shikoku Island, a big island. So there's never, touch wood, been a tsunami strike in that area, because if a tsunami went across Shikoku Island, the entire world's gone.
Oh my God.
So again, that's obviously Niigata is a good example. The houses you can buy on the coast in Niigata are wild for what you get for the money, but technically you're in a tsunami zone.
Sure.
And so the other one, obviously, in more regional areas is landslide zones. So the little mountains, I mean, in Europe or America, these wouldn't even be considered mountains. The moderate-sized hills behind the house are far enough away that mudslide's not coming to my place.
Yeah.
I think probably one of the more, again, in regional areas, you can, not free, but as close to free as a house can be, with IKEA bank, like the government run IKEA banks, like the abandoned house banks. A lot of those you have to be approved by the local community to buy one. But also, again, when I drove, and this is a big difference again from America and Australia, when I did all that driving last year, I would drive through these tiny little villages, and I just go, what do they do here? There isn't anything. There's no shops, there's no businesses. And you go, oh, these people live. They literally live in this area, and they farm, and they grow food, and they raise livestock, and they probably have a knife making business to help local, or they do this, but there is nothing else there. And that's a hard thing to get your head around. That's one of the reasons you can't buy farmland if you're not going to farm, because the area actually depends upon that farming to live. There is no shops. And so a lot of places that you'll see in IKEA banks that are staggeringly cheap, but in quite regional areas, you have to get your head around the idea that there's no hardware store there.
Yeah.
There is no grocery store there. Like you're in lock, stock, and barrel for a lot of work. And I didn't want that.
Yeah, that's how actually a lot of the country is. Once you get out of like Tokyo, Osaka, Kobe, Kyoto, all these major cities, a lot of it is just so very local. We're like, I mean, in some places they don't even have a 7-Eleven. It's like the family conveni. It's got it's got the wasabi that's been on the shelf for maybe a decade, And you're like, oh wow, I don't even think they make this anymore,
That's my dream scenario, is finding that shop that's got the dead stock unopened Pokemon cards from the early 90s.
Oh my God, they're around. They're around. You just got to leave Tokyo. Get out of Akihabara.
Yep.
Oh my
That's
god.
it, man. Do a whole podcast about hard offs.
Oh geez. Well, we're gonna meet again. That's for sure. And speaking of, we have just like maybe 10 minutes left. So I want to know about your company. I want to know about this.
Okay, so about 5 years ago, this is a big rabbit hole. Trying to make it as short as possible. About
Whoa.
5 years ago, I decided I'd really like my own Van sneakers, like my own signature Van sneaker, which I have no business having. I'm not famous, sporty, wealthy, whatever. So I came up with Pizza Sukeraton, who's a character that I've been very slowly creating and building, trying to slowly woo Vans Japan into letting me have my own sneaker. They've, in the last 12 months, in some small form, become aware of him and me. Very, very early days. But essentially, I've created an entire multiverse. Pizza Sukeraton is the Japanese phonetic pronunciation of pizza skeleton. And he battles Pineapple Yurei, a vengeful pineapple ghost, who basically came to Earth and was mocked for being pineapple around pizza. So he started Thanosing cheese. And he would click his fingers and mozzarella doesn't exist anymore. And so any slice of pizza that had mozzarella loses cheese soul and becomes an angry slice of pizza and starts attacking humans.
Uh-oh.
And so basically, I've literally created an entire multiverse with lore, L-O-R-E lore, very heavily ties into Japanese mythology, like the Five Swords Under Heaven. Do you know about the Five Swords Under Heaven? Yep. So part of Pizza Sukeraton's quest is he meets a tanuki called Claude, who is, it's hard to not go down the rabbit hole. I've basically been working for the last 4 months building my own online smart computer program that basically you can get on and talk to the characters and learn about the multiverse. It's not, so I didn't want my website just to be menu, contact, items, links, you know, the classic 90s website still. And so basically you can get on in conversational language, talk through Claude, the Tanuki, who's the narrator and dungeon master essentially, about all the characters I've created. So I have real world stuff. I do limited edition t-shirts. These glow in the dark. They got delivered in pizza boxes. I've got one aside for you. What, you large?
Medium.
What is it? Okay, well, I think I'll have to have a look. But basically, yeah. So basically, I've started slowly wooing Nintendo and Vans Japan with concepts of characters that they can develop further. Yeah, and so basically, it's my love letter to Japan, because ever since I was a kid, I've been obsessed with things that came out of Japan, you know? And it's also because I don't sleep a lot, it gave me something to create.
Well, I think that's really creative and cool.
It's wildly fun. So yeah, basically in the next 4 weeks or so, the website will go up, and basically the idea, this is the last bit of the rabbit hole for today. Everything released is limited edition. I want to reward people and say thank you for being bothered buying something. So part of it is the next t-shirt drop, which will come out in March next year. Everyone who buys a t-shirt will actually get a little code where they can create their own character in the multiverse and interact with all the characters and stories that are built in there. And they're the only people like that you can't, I don't want 10 million people doing it, because I don't know how to cope with that. It just basically, it's helping me develop storylines and stories and characters to further the potential of, you know, having my, the sneaker's designed, it's completely designed. It's a really cool looking, it's a pizza themed sneaker.
Nice. I dig it.
There's real world skateboards. So all the art, I can't draw. I'm not artistic, but I'm pretty creative. So all the art of things that I sell is made by humans who I pay to do it. I've got friends who are amazing designers. Apart from that, I am dipping into the fun shit with AI, where essentially I now have 4 artists, 7 songs, I think from memory, on Spotify and iTunes of different styles of music. I write all the lyrics and help prompt. Well, I'm going to get some shit for that. But basically, none of it's direct advertising. But essentially, the idea is that if you're talking to Claude the Tanuki and he asks you what you like and you go punk rock, you'll be able to say, man, you should check out this song about this band release. And so there's things that exist in the real world talking about the characters that I've created already. Because I like the meta side of that, of the Facebook meta, yeah.
Making your own universe, man. You've got your own world in Japan and your own universe on the internet, dude. That's awesome. Dude, James, dude, we got to get together again. This has got to be like part 1, and then we're going to have part 2. This is so cool. And yeah, sorry about my voice.
Part 3 will be you and I in the house exploring in inland sea.
Oh my God, I can bring the haunted painting. We can hang it up and have like crazy dreams.
I'll tell you, I don't dream.
You don't dream. You will with this thing. This thing's crazy.
I'll be so. Like I said, I've got aphantasia. I can't create or store mental imagery. I want to say I don't dream. I've only ever dreamt in black and white. And they're very banal. There's nothing exciting about my dreams at all. Like literally, they're like meet up with someone I had an argument once with, and we go to a coffee shop and make it all okay. Okay, well then we'll meet up and we'll make our dreams come true. That's what we'll do. Oh no! But I want to try the bad painting dream experiment. Though.
Oh, you basically will have nightmares. It's weird. But anyway, James,
we can use divining rods to get rid of that, sir.
Really? I kind of like having it around. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I'm a weird guy, dude. Thank you so much for your time, man. And definitely, this is part 1. Part 2 is in the works, dude. Thank you so much. It's in the works. All right, faders, thank you so much for tuning into this very special episode of Got Faded Japan. Oh, James, can you give me like a list of all the links of everything that you're doing? So like everybody that's listening and watching this can like stay in contact with you?
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome. All right, faders, thank you so much. Sorry about my voice. I sound like Steve-O. All right.
You do.
I do, man. I'm Steve-O. Dude, I freaking look like Steve-O.
It's not, that's for sure.
Oh, my God. Well, I'm not just...
Last question for me. Who are the artists of the art behind you?
Me.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, this is all the stuff. Dude, last night I was live painting at this nightclub. You should see the work that I did. I'll send you a link to that. Yes. Yeah, I do all this stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, dude. Well, dude.
I love it.
Hey, you invite me to your house, you might get a nice housewarming present. There we go.
And it will be haunted.
Well, maybe. All right, later, bro. Thank you. Faders, thank you so much. Catch you next time. Peace.
Thanks for listening and watching, people.
My little brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. Will you wait till Mom finds out, buddy?
I've got a government job to abuse and a lonely wife to fuck. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
God, the pressure! I can't take it! I can't take it! I can't get to it!
You sure excuse me?
We're going freaking! We came, we saw, we kicked his ass!
Your move, creep.
Oh, man. I will never forgive your ass for this shit. This is some fucked up repugnant shit.
Suicide, it's a suicide.
Ah, fuck it, dude. Let's go bold.